Welcome to the It's Been Said podcast. I'm your host, SAI Executive Director Lisa Ramey, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Dr. Dana Schoen. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you, Lisa. Happy to be here.
So, in this episode, we're focusing on one of the most impactful supports we can offer school leaders. It's the SAI Mentoring Program, which is facilitated by Dr. Dana Schoen. Strong leadership doesn't happen in isolation, and mentoring plays a critical role in helping administrators navigate challenges, build confidence, and grow in their practice. We're also very fortunate today to be joined by four outstanding administrators who have experienced this program from both sides, as mentors and as mentees. Today's conversation will highlight the impact of those relationships, the benefits for everyone involved, and why mentoring continues to be such a valuable investment in our profession. So welcome Chris and Aaliyah, Matt, and Matt. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so to get us started, I'm going to ask each of you to briefly share your role, your district, and how you've been involved in the SAI mentoring program. And Chris, let's start with you.
All right. I'm Chris Denai, the elementary principal at Nevada. I have been involved in the mentoring program I was trying to think about this the other day. I think, maybe 15 plus years. I think I've had 11 or 12 mentees over the years, and have loved every single part of it. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. How about Matt Kingsbury?
Yes, Matt Kingsbury. I am the high school principal at Vinton-Shellsburg High School. I believe I have been a mentee I've been in the mentoring program here for SAI at least 6 or 7 times. It's been a valuable, very valuable experience, even though each experience has been different as well too. But I've truly enjoyed being able to connect with these young administrators as well.
Awesome. Aaliyah.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah Kralik. I am the elementary principal at Collins Maxwell. This obviously is my first year as a mentee, and I was very blessed to have Chris as my mentor this year.
And Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt Savari, principal at West Delaware High School in Manchester. Before at West Delaware, I was an associate principal for 4 years and an AD for 3 years. So my experience as a mentor or being menteed may be a little bit different than some, but it's been a great experience being able to bounce ideas off and decisions with Matt. So it's been a great experience.
Lisa, I love the energy that these people are talking about, these amazing leaders are talking about when they think about our mentoring program. I keep smiling as I'm listening to you share. And as you think about those of you that have been in the role of mentee, what did it mean for you to have a mentor during that first year in the role? I think for me, just coming from a smaller district, I serve about 170 students here, so we're on the small side. It is just me. So it was really nice having Chris as just somebody to lean on, bounce ideas off of and get resources, because there were some things that I just didn't have. And I didn't have the time to create them, and I didn't even know what I needed. So it was really nice to have Chris there to lean on for sure. Yeah, great. Thanks, Leah.
For me, like I said before, it wasn't really about learning the administrator position from scratch, but I was a first-time high school principal, so I was responsible for a lot of the bigger picture items, and Matt has been a great mentor and a trusted person to kind of talk through those big decisions and that transition and what the role of high school principal, how that differs from other roles in administration. So, yeah, it's been a great first year and great working with Matt.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for sharing the fact that you've been in that AP role, and at the same time, there's value even with admin experience when you step into that lead principal role, having that designated person there to whom you can go for questions, support, and resources. So I appreciate that perspective too.
Yeah, as we all know, when we step into a new role, there can be moments that either are opportunities, maybe challenges, right? Where, boy, that's when we say, I am so fortunate that I have a mentor that I can call, reach out to, email, text to get some support, talk me through something. So can either Elia or Matt give an example of when you were faced with something like that and what that was and how your mentor helped?
For me, two things came to mind. One, I had a teacher-related issue that I had to work through, which was a challenging situation. And Matt was also dealing with the same type of situation, a personnel situation as well. So he kind of shared the situation he was in and kind of talked through how he was handling it, and which helped me kind of think through how to handle that same situation with me, with my situation at school. So being able to relate to and have someone else to bounce off ideas off of who's dealing with the same issues in their building was great. And then the other thing that came to mind, we were struggling to fill two sections of Spanish, and we didn't have an instructor to cover those. And he had a really good resource that he used in his class at his school that helped us kind of cover that. And so it was a big problem, and it did kind of show me it's not just advice, but also sharing great resources too that kind of helped us fill a need in our building. So he shared a great resource that also helped me out a ton.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. It's the same as Matt, the first one. It's difficult coming in as a young administrator with teachers who could be your parents or are your parents' age, at least for me. And I did have a personnel issue, and Chris was very supportive along the way, and even just reassuring me that yes, this is right. This is what's best for kids. You are following policy, and just being in my corner and making sure, always having Chris in my corner was really nice. Another issue I think is just with our districts being so close, with open enrollment. Chris and I are constantly talking about things like that and parent issues. And Chris has been very helpful with those things as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's just good to know that others go through those same types of issues and just talking through with somebody who's been there and experienced that. That's great.
Yeah, you both hinted at this next piece a little bit. One of the goals of our mentoring program is to help bolster the confidence that you feel in your leadership role, not to create a mini-me, but to help you feel confident in your leadership. And so as you think about your mentoring relationship, how did that relationship or how has that relationship supported your confidence and your decision making?
Yeah, I feel like Matt and I both kind of hit on this already, but it's just nice having someone who's in your corner. I can text Chris or call her at any time. And if she can't answer, we find a time to meet or talk. And just helping facilitate or helping you get through some of the hard stuff, and just being another person to lean on. Like I said, it's really nice having her in my corner and just making sure that I'm not missing anything, that I'm seeing the whole picture.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And sometimes, a lot of times, you know you're making the right decision, but it just gives you the confidence when you can check in with them, and be like, hey, have you dealt with this before? How would you handle it? And then it kind of just gives you that confidence to like step in front of your staff or talk to a parent or whatever, and know that there's other principals or your mentor has had the similar situation and handled it similarly. So just having that backup and that someone to bounce that idea off of, just to make sure that you're on the right track.
I'm sure Chris and Matt have seen it all, and if they haven't seen it, they're pretty close. So they're just people you can rely on who probably have went through very similar things multiple times instead of the first time.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just checking your reality too. Like, am I losing it here, or does this seem really weird? And I need somebody else to tell me, no, you are grounded. Your perception is accurate. Matt and Chris, I was just curious. I think confidence can be a challenging thing to measure. It's really your self-perception of that. But I was curious if Matt or Chris, if either of you in mentoring have been able to point to some specific observations where you can say, wow, I've really seen this person's confidence grow.
I for sure can. Aaliyah has had some challenging situations as a not only just as a first year principal, but just as a building administrator in general, with dealing with some staff. And she has, one example of a veteran staff that she has handled with like this amazing grace and also confidence as the year has gone on. Just being able to believe in herself that this is what's best for kids. Sometimes she'll call me and she'll say, "This is what's best for kids, right?" And she knows that it is. And now it's like, okay, this is what I did. This is how I'm handling this situation. This is a documentation that I have. And so just watching that throughout the year has been really fun to see. She's actually like my daughter's age. And so it's like this like my proud mom moment of just seeing that confidence grow in her decision making, because I think she already had this really fantastic background and knowledge about what to do, and just that great sense of being a leader and what a leader means, and watching her grow throughout the year in the confidence and decision making, and dealing with parents, and dealing with school board members and teachers and even students has been really fun to see. It's like a fast forward film of, wow, look at, you've learned so much this year.
And from my perspective, as Matt stated earlier, he had some prior experience. He was an AP at a previous school. And when I first met him, one of his biggest things is he was in a private sector versus going to a public sector. So we worked through that transition piece as well too, which, that was a learning experience for me, working with Matt from that perspective. But, going into as a head principal role, I think we began meeting in July. I think I came to Manchester there. We started meeting in July, and seeing from July even to now, that confidence has greatly grown. And, sitting in the head principal seat or elementary principal seat, where that looks like, it is different. It is a very different role, and dealing with situations and experiences. And Matt has gained that confidence each and every time. And truthfully, Matt's been really easy to work with because he has a holistic approach. He has some prior experience, so he's kind of seen it before, but bouncing ideas back and forth has been, beneficial for me, but hoping for him as well too. But yeah, confidence wise, he's done a great job with that piece. And I think every day you sit in that seat provides more confidence and develops that leadership as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. So, Matt and Aaliyah, if mentoring were a road trip, where did it take you this past year?
For me, the way I kind of thought about this question is like, in a road trip, it's been a place where I've maybe been there before, but it's always nice to have that GPS and in Madden as our mentor to kind of, if I need to check to see if I'm on the right track, or if I'm going the right direction, or I need to make a detour, he's always there and ready, and can answer any question I have. So new role, new district always has new twists and turns and challenges, but he was always someone I could go to if I ever needed course correction or anything like that. So that's kind of the metaphor that I kind of fell on for that question.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too. When I saw that question, I was like, oh gosh, that's something that you really have to think about, and I agree. Just Chris is kind of like my GPS, and she helps me to get where I need to go. And I really think it's just a journey from like a excited but also anxious and nervousness to a place of confidence. And Chris has really helped me get there.
So I know it didn't necessarily say this in the questions, but from Chris and Matt, from your perspective, if it was a road trip for you all as mentors, what did that look like for you?
Working with Matt, again, he's been real easy to work with. I mean, we've had, some turns here and there. I mean, he's had some challenges with different things, but, as I look at that, it's always a roadmap. But again, there's going to be times where you veer off and you got to come back to the path again. And part of that is just that natural learning curve with different things. And the path isn't always straight. And whether you're a first year administrator, or from my perspective, I've been in Vinton with my 15th year here, there's always going to be different routes to meet your end goal. And I think that's, Matt has learned that. I've learned that. So that's kind of the path we're always on each and every year, truthfully.
Yeah, I kind of think about it a little bit of a trip across America in the sense that there are, depending on what route you take, there's going to be exciting things to see. I think about coming through the Colorado mountains and there's highs and then there's lows and then there might be some Nebraska trips, right? Like it's just kind of not much to see here. That time it kind of goes fairly slow, and then you might hit some mountains again or some beautiful lakes. Or I just think about throughout the year there were always times in our mentor and mentee relationship where there were times that we spoke on the phone multiple times a day. We exchanged multiple texts a day. And then there were other times where we would go a couple of weeks without communicating. Things were kind of maybe Nebraska feeling of nothing to see here. It's everything's going well. And then, the celebrations of, oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this. That was probably my favorite part, was when she would share the celebrations or the things that we've been working on, and this is going really well. And so just kind of and the idea that it's not the same trip every day. It's a different trip, and there were some exciting times, and then there were also some just kind of boring times. But that's, I think, just the route of how the relationship works is it's nice that way. I never felt like there was even the times that we didn't communicate for maybe a couple of weeks. I felt like that was the longest it ever was, but I never felt this terrible feeling of, oh my gosh, I have to reach out to her because I haven't reached out, because I knew that she would reach out when she needed something, or I would. But it was just really comfortable.
Yeah, that's great. So Matt Kingsbury, you mentioned a little bit about reciprocity. You didn't use that exact language, but oftentimes I'll hear from our mentors when I ask for feedback, they talk about the reciprocal nature of the relationship. And so I'm curious, Matt and Chris, what have you gained personally and professionally from serving in your role as mentor?
I say this, I've been a mentor for 6 or 7 times. It's a growing experience, but every time that I work with Matt or just new individuals, it's a big reflection piece as well too. Being able to see, we get in our buildings and this is how we do things on a daily basis or yearly basis. So you get stuck in the grind sometimes. And working with other individuals. And again, Matt, in this situation here, young, you guys are all young. I guess I'm getting older. How's that sound? But all these young new administrators, they have different views, different, perspectives on how to do things. And I learn probably as much from them as I do just on my daily experiences. So that's, for me, one of the reasons I really enjoy and appreciate SII invited me to help with new administrators, because I learn just as much from them as I hope when they do for me on a daily basis and yearly basis, truthfully.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think the one of my favorite things is just the friendships that I have developed over the course of the years. I still stay in contact with most of the people that I have mentored, and it's just another valuable relationship that has made me grow as a person. And then just the resources, the excitement. Again, also, I'm more towards the end of my career, and I just love seeing that we have these young people coming up with so much energy and fresh perspective, and thinking through how confident they are. I don't think that I was near as confident as Aaliyah is in her first year. And it just makes me really proud of where we are in the profession. Because this profession is not an easy profession, and we need good, strong leaders coming up. And so when we get to see that year after year after year, it just gives me a really good feeling of the hands that we're going to pass this over to, and the new people that are coming up that are taking over are much more prepared and ready than I feel like I was a long time ago.
We're pausing for a brief commercial break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation. Stick around.
This episode is brought to you by Just Right Reader. From pre-emergent through developing readers, Just Right Reader supports every student's full journey to confident, independent reading in English and Spanish. Following a rigorous phonics progression, Just Right Reader Decodables provide the structured phonics practice in English or Spanish that leads to reading success. To learn more, visit justrightreader.com.
And now, back to our conversation on leadership.
So Matt and Chris, yeah, could both of you or either one of you share a specific example of something you learned from your mentees?
I won't share an example. I'm going to share the approach. How's that sound? I know
Perfect.
Matt was working through a change within the staff there, not staff in general, just it's a general change and kind of struggling with it a little bit. And our personalities are slightly different. And I really appreciated when I was trying to even help or give some advice. He has that laid back approach to it, but he has that holistic ideas, and had all the checklists of things already completed and done. And some of that probably comes with some of his past experiences, as an AP. But he, took everybody's consideration. He took the time, I guess, and patience to work through this big problem he was having or consideration he was going to be working with. And, as I was giving him some advice, I'm thinking, well, he doesn't really need me because he already knows these things because he's already doing it. And I felt great that, that it's part of that experience piece, that leadership piece. And he was moving forward with what he was wanting to do. But yeah, it's just that he did a great job of looking at all the perspectives in general before making any decisions, which is a lot of new administrators. You just want to go in there sometimes and make decisions right away. And that was not him. He was taking all these ideas into consideration before he was moving forward, which was great.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of different things, but they all come back to just thinking about Aaliyah's fierceness in decision making and in leading, and it just makes me think about like some specific times that we have spoken, or when I went to visit her building a couple of times, and the passion that she has when dealing with staff. Because it's what she knows is best for kids. And so making some teacher moves. There was some decisions that she made this year about moving some teachers around to different grade levels, all because not because it was what was easy. It was not easy. But she knew that in her heart, it was the right thing for kids. And so just that fierceness and that dedication to not being afraid to make hard decisions has been I think something that I look at and I learn from that. Like she's so not afraid to make decisions that are best for kids, and I hope that I'm doing that too. But that's something that I look back on, like, oh my gosh, I can do hard things too, just like she does.
Along these similar lines, how would you say mentoring has influenced your own leadership or perspective? And another way you might think about this might be, what are you doing differently in your own leadership practice as a result of having served as a mentor?
I would say one thing that I am doing differently is not feeling like I need to recreate the wheel with resources. Finding that network out there, and Aaliyah asking for things, sharing, like, do you have this? Do you have this? What do you have for this? And oftentimes I will say, well, I got this from my last mentee, or just that being able to not feel so isolated. And many of the things that I have been able to share with her either are things that either I helped create or I got from someone else. And some of those things were from some of my mentees in the past about what they did there. And so I feel like it's just helped me be more reflective on that shared leadership idea of, let's help each other out. We're not in this alone. And so that has helped me, I think big picture over the years that I've done this is, how can we lift each other up and help each other out, in a better way, to not feel the force of all the things that need to be done when someone else has probably already done it.
Yeah, I would agree. Everything Chris said, ditto. I mean, absolutely. Another thing through, practice I've learned working with Matt, but to this other mentees and just, other administrators in general, is that sometimes everybody's dealing with the similar or same situation. So taking that step back, using your resources. I know somebody mentioned networking as well too. We all have a build our network up, and I'll be working with Matt and talking with Matt as we go as well too. But everybody's in this together. We got to support everybody together. There was a few times I would text Matt and say, "Hey, what are you doing with this? Or have you done with this? Have you had this to deal with this yet?" And just bouncing those ideas back and forth because you get hit with so many things on a daily basis, from the administrator standpoint. I'm sure somebody else has done that piece as well too. So yeah, finding resources, networking, but really just taking a step back sometimes and looking at things before you follow through and, make some of those decisions as well too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been evident listening to the four of you here so far that you've had a good mentor-mentee relationship. So again, this is for any one of the four of you, all four of you. What really makes that? What are the key ingredients to a successful mentoring relationship?
Sure, I'll start real quick. I think being authentic, and I think one of the things I've always tried to do, whether with Matt or anybody else, is when how do you deal with this? And I don't ever try to tell them. I just try to guide because every building, every community is different. Everybody's got different cultures and how they deal with things. And I've try to express these are some resources. This is how I have approached this situation or done this, and then I kind of guide them and leave it up to them to figure, some of those things out. And if they need more advice or more support, they know where I'm at. But, it's more that guidance piece that I think builds that trusting relationship, but always being there for support, as well too, when, they need to have that help.
I think vulnerability is a big piece, especially being new. Being able to be vulnerable with your mentor and say, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to handle this, and just being open and honest, and really being open to feedback, and then taking that feedback, and then like what Matt said, every building is different, but taking the feedback and doing what's best for the building that you're in, I think is definitely a key ingredient.
Mm-hmm. And building off all that too, like communication, just like reaching out when you need help and communicating. And I feel like that's something I wish I would have done more this year because we have a really good AD and really good superintendent. So I feel like I've had like 3 different mentors this year, including Matt. So sometimes I think, oh, I should have asked Matt about that question too. So just like opening the communication and talking and just the opening up about what issues you're dealing with in your school and talking and figuring out like, oh, how do you handle this situation? And so just that open line of communication, that's something that I think is important.
Matt, I think you bring up a really good point. And when you think about our new people, in some instances, they have a bigger admin team or more administrators. And one of the gifts, I think, of SAI mentoring and in alignment with the research is that while you get that internal mentoring and support, you also get that outside person, like you mentioned. Oh, I wonder what it looks like over in Witten-Shellsburg, and could I process that with Matt? So I appreciate your insight around that. I think that's an important aspect that ideally our program can provide for people beyond the formal mentor itself, just that outside perspective too.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I know you want to hop in here. What are the elements of a good mentoring relationship?
Yeah, I think these guys really nailed it. Some of the same words that I had written down. I think that Matt, mentioned it, that authenticity and vulnerability, and really just being able to just be there. I feel like it's on both sides, but from my perspective, just really feeling honored that Aaliyah wants is asking for my help. I know that she has supports elsewhere. I think, Matt, one of the Matts alluded to that, that there's also supports in your own district and other people that but being able to bounce ideas off of somebody else in a different place and just being real. Sometimes I think it's also just sometimes we, just embracing the suck together, and just letting them know that this is really hard. This is a hard time. There was a couple of texts that, she would say, please tell me that this time of the year this is normal. I'm feeling this, that what I'm feeling is normal at this time of the year. And I'm like, yep, we're all feeling it. And so I think just being real, and that supportive stance of, yep, I'm right here with you, not always painting a picture of sunshine and roses when it isn't, and acknowledging that those hard times, but that there will be, the sun will come up tomorrow. And right now it's okay to be feeling frustrated, or to be, just in that moment of, gosh, this is really hard.
Yeah, Chris, I want to go back to something you said earlier. You talked about there would be days where you might text each other or talk to each other several times in a day, and then it might go a couple of weeks. And as you all know, one of the expectations we have in the program is that you would have some weekly communication, have monthly communication, and a cadence that works best for you. And this next question relates to, how do you build trust in that relationship? And I thought of your earlier comment, because obviously the fact that you guys can talk 6 times in a day and then go a couple of weeks, I would say, is an example of that kind of trust. But starting with you, Chris, what are some of the specific behaviors that you feel contributed to building that trusting mentoring relationship?
I think just from the get-go, that first meeting, those first couple of times, really, being, honest and transparent about, this is where I am, this is who I am, being able to lead with my heart, and which is just kind of who I am, but being able to say, I don't have all the answers, I never will. However, I want to support you in what I can, and in different ways that I can, and just that honesty, that vulnerability, sharing some hard times that I struggled when I was, remembering back those first couple of years of what was hard, but also being that, a voice of reason and hope, and being able to say, yeah, gosh, these are hard times, but I'm honored to be here, grateful. I've said this for years. I always feel like SII picks the best of the best to give me for mentees, because I just feel like you guys do such a great job of matching me with my mentees every single time. And so I think that there's that appreciation also, knowing that we can, build those bonds by just being ourselves and offering what we have to offer, and figuring out, how to navigate it together. Each relationship looks different. Each year is different, and really trying to navigate on what the needs are, and how to support. Sometimes support looks, there's more heavy lifting to do at times. And then at other times it's, kind of let it lead its course. And so not forcing it, not feeling like I have to, those monthly check-ins or whatever. It doesn't feel like, I don't feel that pressure to be like, oh my gosh, it's been 3.5 weeks and we haven't communicated. Finding what works and finding that natural balance, has really, navigated the relationship in itself.
Yeah, I think for my side of it, listening is a huge thing as well too, especially in those first couple meetings, because you really don't know each other. So you're really trying to build that trust, and trust is earned, it's not given. So same with the relationship as well too. That's all those things are earned. And I remember the first several months I was reaching out to Matt several different times. How you doing? What can I help you with? And again, he had some experience prior to, and everything's fine here and there. I don't remember. It might have been late fall, early winter, and I was really excited because I got a text back from Matt about, what are you doing, or how I got this issue, and how are you going about it? I was really excited. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's got an issue now. I can help. I felt like, oh my God, now I can do my job. And it was really, so. I think at that point, I think he was, finding his way. Our trust and relationship was getting better as well too. And then even from that point, even on, he was sending more text messages about, I got this or got that. So it does take time when you have when you're with your mentee. But again, just being authentic, you listen, and you do your best you can to support, and that builds that relationship as well too.
Matt and Aaliyah, what behaviors do you see as important to contributing to that trust?
I mean, really everything that Chris and Matt said is true on both the mentor and the mentee side, but I think a big thing for me is just how Chris consistently showed up for me. She was always in my corner. She was always available to answer any questions or share a resource or like what we've said, make me feel better, make me feel normal. So I think just her consistency and her just steady leadership through it all, really, at least for me, was the most way or the best way that she built trust quickly.
Yeah, I'd agree with everything that's been said. You guys kind of nailed it on the head. Like all that time and the communication and being there when you need them, and just like over time, it just continues to that trust gets built over those good experiences. So it's just one of those things that if you have great interactions and great advice and good conversation, that just naturally just builds over time.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, as you all know, it's that time of year when we have new administrators are getting hired. So, they're then signing up for our SAI mentoring program. We'll start the matching process. Well, we've started the matching process. So, what would you say to new participants that they should do to make the most of the mentoring experience?
I think ask all the questions, whether you think they're dumb or not. Any question is a good question.
I agree with that. Just be vulnerable, like be open to asking any kind of question and reach out. You're not being annoying. Just reach out and ask those questions, and that's what they're here. They signed up for this, so use them and use their resources and use their feedback because it's super valuable.
And I would say for on the mentor side, hopefully you have new people signed up to be mentors. And so for those people that are doing that for the first time, I guess my advice to that would be to just embrace it. Know that you are part of the bigger picture and that you do have resources that other people might be interested in and just to it's that what you put into it, you'll get out of it. And just realizing that you're here to gain a new colleague, potentially a new friend, and resources and information. And so just thinking of it from that perspective of what a great opportunity to grow professionally. Every year that I've done this, I have grown so much. As a leader, and so it's just something that I look forward to because I feel like many times I get more out of it than the mentees do.
Yeah, I'm gonna say be an engaged learner, if you're a mentor, because really that's why you're helping to support the new administrators or your mentees. You're really learning and sharing together as well too. And as you go through the year together, I mean, I think that's a very valuable experience because, again, younger individuals coming in, hopefully, different ideas, different perspectives on things, and I don't know everything. I still have several years left, hopefully, as a school administrator, and that helps guide my practices in my own building, as well too, because even kids coming up, or you're hiring teachers coming up, they all have different perspectives on things as well. So it's really just learning from each other, and then you build that network as well too, and that network that you build is helping to provide additional resources, as a school administrator as well. So yeah, if you're interested to be a mentor, reach out to Dana and get involved.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice. Thank you. And how do you guys see the SAI mentoring program contributing to the success and the retention of Iowa school leaders?
I think it just goes back to having people you can rely on, feeling like you're not alone, feeling like there are people here to support you and willing to help you out with everything that comes your way. Because like I think it was you, Matt, who said, regardless of any school you're in, we're all dealing with the same thing. So just having a network of people to be there for you for sure.
I
I
think you
mean,
hit it. Go ahead.
go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, I think you hit nail on the head right there. Like that's exactly what I was gonna say. So, having that network, having that, like you're not feeling like on an island and on your own and making decisions in isolation. So that I think makes you feel good about what you're doing and confident in the decision you're making.
I consider the SAI mentoring program very similar to what we do for as in our induction program as well too. We're helping, we want to provide those supports for our new teachers, and through the induction process, that you're providing extra scaffolding for those new teachers to support them. That way, they have, as they go through, there's no burnout or we don't lose them along the way. The SAI mentoring program is the exact same thing. You're just building extra support for them, providing them some guidance, provide them extra resources, because we're all in this together, and we want to see everybody succeed.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that I think about is that as a new administrator, not everyone has the same amount of resources coming in. They may not have the same number of connections. They may not have the same size admin team. Some schools have an admin team of 12, and some schools you're it. And so without this program, I think that a lot of our new administrators wouldn't have that network, that support system on their own. You might think that we would reach out when we need help, but when there's someone that is there just for you, it helps build that confidence that I think that we have seen in our new administrators. And I think the structure of how it is set up is really great. The monthly reminders are good, and for some people, that is a good time for them to oh gosh, I need to check in with my mentee. Others, it might be yep, we've met, we've talked. But for some, it's just that reminder, which we all need. And then the meetings that we have face to face. There's some Zoom meetings, but especially the face to face meetings. While we know it's all hard to get out of the building, those face to face meetings were probably my favorite, because we got to see other people that were doing the same thing that we were. We got to see the new administrators, and they had a chance to network together. Those of us that have mentored for a while, it's always nice to see each other. But for me, just that perspective of seeing all the new faces gathered together, it's very hopeful, and it's nice to see that structure is going really, really strong. The content of the meetings each time are great. I have never walked away from a mentor-mentee meeting and not taken something away from it for myself. The things that are, that the presenters that you have are always dead on, talking about evaluations, talking about all of those things that paraeducators and student support and parent support, those are things that even as veteran administrators are good for us, that we may not get as much as we would like to. And so knowing that there's going to be new learning at each of those is exciting.
Yeah, great. Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Okay. So to bring it all to a nutshell here, what is one word that captures your mentoring experience and why?
For me, I would say perspective would be the word that comes to mind. Matt was someone that I could bounce things off of, hear how he handled similar situations, help me think through some decisions and look at things at a different angle. So his perspective definitely helped me feel more confident in my role and better prepared as I served as the principal here at West Delaware. So perspective is the word that comes to mind for me.
The word for me is thankful. I am just so thankful for Chris in this program. I could get weepy talking about Chris. She just has been so supportive, and thankful. I'm speechless. I don't have much to say other than that. Otherwise, I'll start crying on this podcast, and no one wants to hear that. So.
I can piggyback on that because mine is grateful. And my reason for that is just I feel like I'm a better person because of this experience. I've had an opportunity to learn from some really great people, and learning from Aaliyah has been amazing. And I just feel grateful. I feel like I am a better, not even just administrator, but just a better person in general because of this opportunity.
Well, I use the word joy, joyful, just because it's fun seeing from day one, meeting your mentee or meeting Matt, and just seeing where they're at right now as well too, seeing that growth, and really knowing that you had a little impact on their professional leadership, and then not only for this year but down the road as well too, and it brings that perspective back, I guess, to me as well too, and seeing these young people grow as young leaders as well too. So yeah, joyful, and I hope he's very successful. Hope Leah is very successful, and everybody else, which they will be.
Lisa, I have to throw my word in here. I feel incredibly blessed that I get to work with these people and that they represent all of our mentors and our new leaders. And I would say thank you all so much because I do feel incredibly joyful. I feel grateful. I feel thankful. And I love the perspective that I get from across the state because I get to be part of these opportunities with you all. And just thank you. Thank you all for being part of our program. It is what it is because of all of you and what you contribute to it, both as mentors and mentees.
Yeah, I really can't say it any better than Dana just said. Just thank you. This just is another example of you're willing to give of your time to support the profession. And it doesn't matter if you're a mentor or a mentee today, because this will go out to our membership and may inspire someone to sign up that wasn't thinking about doing so. So thank you for your time. Thanks for your support for your schools, districts, communities, and for just stepping up to be an administrator. So just appreciate that as always. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this conversation on the SAI Mentoring Program. I want to extend my sincere appreciation to our guests for sharing their experiences and insights. What stands out is that mentoring is not a one-way exchange. It's a partnership that strengthens both the mentor and the mentee, while ultimately benefiting the students and communities we serve. Thank you for your work you do each day to support Iowa's schools, and thank you for listening to the SAI podcast.